Hi and welcome to this talk on emotional evolution. For most of us, because of how our world or parents or felt about emotions, we were encouraged to give up on them at a very early age. If you think back at the times when we were kids and had so much emotion, and then either joy or tantrums or whatever it was, and the people around us, family around us, told us to stop doing that. And every time that happened, it kind of emotionally shrunk us. And we kind of gave up on feeling emotions and went into, secondary process. The problem with all this is that actually how we interact with our world is emotionally. And the important things for us, love and success and creativity and happiness, these are all emotional states. And so without our emotions, we're just shrunk. We won't experience those as realities. We'll experience those states, through our thinking, and we'll think about happiness or we'll think about success, but it won't be a reality for us. For all the good things in this world to be a reality for us, we have to evolve emotionally. We have to go back and remove all the blocks we had to our fears about being emotional. And then after that, we win back our courage, we win back our willingness to deal with our emotions, which allows us to move much more quickly through life. Where we have a fear of our emotions, and then things do go wrong, it can take us years and years to work through major traumas. But where we win back our emotional state, our emotional evolution, we can move through the biggest traumas quickly and easily.
An example of emotional immaturity was a couple of years ago. I was playing tennis with my husband Nigel and another couple that are friends of ours that live locally. And during the tennis match, as we were starting to win, the husband, started really getting quite aggressive towards his wife and started to get more and more upset, and his emotions were running over him, overrunning him. And basically, in the end, when we won another shot, he threw his racket on the ground and he stormed off the tennis court, having actually shouted at his wife.
Now, in terms of a 40-year-old man, that isn't necessarily the maturity of a 40-year-old man. Inside, there was an emotional trauma trapped inside of him. And luckily, a week later, he had the courage to come and talk to me about what was really going on for him. And we were able to take him very quickly back to a time in his childhood where, in sibling rivalry, his brother was always beating him at sport. And we had to go in and look at the emotions of it. And there were tears involved, but he released the experience. And the next time we played tennis, we had a great game.
Yes, that's a great example. Julie gave a great example about how important it is to deal with our emotions, because typically most of us, if we're unwilling to deal with our emotions, what we do is we use anger in order to protect ourselves from doing that. We become angry with the people around us, or we become angry with ourselves, and then anger is always an attack, and sooner or later we'll feel guilty about it, which reinforces the whole pattern. Our life doesn't move forward, we don't resolve anything, and we just go from a moment of anger to the next moment of anger, and with the deadness in between. And that's typically how we are when we haven't evolved emotionally.
One time when I actually, as a parent, had the opportunity to help my son Joseph through an emotional situation, an emotional experience, was when his pet dog died, Rosie. Now, as a boy growing up, he adored this dog. She was like a nanny to him. He used to dress her up in all sorts of clothes, and she used to put up with no end of bother from him because she adored him, and he absolutely adored her. And of course, Rosie died when she got older, and it was a huge, huge setback for Joseph, my son. I mean, he was absolutely bereft and heartbroken.
And I'd just become involved with the psychology of vision at that time, and having started to learn that emotions and releasing emotions from the past really help us become more present and experience life emotionally and feel it and feel what other people are feeling.
I realised that this was an opportunity to talk to Joe about Rosie. So one night, as I was feeding the other dogs we had, I was washing up at the sink. And when we used to wash up at the sink, Joseph always used to laugh because Rosie used to growl at the sink in case there were any leftover bits of food on plates and things like that. And as he was sitting there, very quiet and subdued as he had been for a couple of days, I was washing up at the sink and I said, "Did you hear that?" And he went, "What?" And I went, "I swear that was Rosie growling away like she used to." And he started to open up and cry and share how much he loved his dog. It was a big release for him. And to think that that boy didn't have that heartbreak and upset around losing something dear to him has helped him be really brave and courageous in saying goodbye to friends, in making friends. But it was a big help for him. And this is what we mean about being able to get through our heartbreaks instead of bury them inside of us. And through the support of others, this is how we do it in psychology of vision.
Yes, it's through growing emotionally that actually we make ourselves safe. So often we believe that if we experience strong emotions, that we're putting ourselves in some kind of danger, that we might get stuck in this sadness or this feeling of loss or this feeling of heartbreak. But as you know, all feelings have a finite amount to them, and it's just our willingness to really engage with them, to feel them, and then we grow in maturity and wisdom. Where we refuse to heal the feeling or deal with the feeling, and all our feelings coming out of our childhood, what that does is put us in danger, because sooner or later our higher mind, our soul mind, that part of us that doesn't care whether we're having a good day or a bad day, but just wants to heal these fractures inside us, heal these painful places inside us, sooner or later that will create a situation in your life which will trigger this emotion. And sometimes if we really defend it against that emotion, it has to get pretty bad out there before that emotion gets triggered.
Feeling our feelings, having emotional maturity, really helps us have happiness and joy in our lives, because all the repressed negative experiences that have emotions attached to them that we've buried in our past block even greater experience of love and happiness. So the good feelings are underneath the negative feelings. And that's the great thing about emotional maturity, as we're willing to go into feeling a negative experience and all the emotions attached to it, they can just move through us, and then what comes up is just a feeling of greater connection to our world and happiness.
So we spent some time now talking about the importance of growing emotionally. And one of the ways of recognizing where we don't do it is we get caught in all our other, pain and repression and things like that. And then typically how that shows up in our life is we just become complainers. We're always complaining about what's going wrong around us, how other people are not doing what they should be doing, how the government's not doing what it should be doing. And these are all places where we're not taking responsibility, we're not dealing with our feelings, and we're not really growing up. So it's really essential for us to do that, because nobody really likes a complainer. And when we're a complainer, basically what we're saying is that other people can do things to us. Other people can make us feel angry. Other people can make us feel guilty. Other people are the source of our sorrow. Other people are the source of our pain. And that's really an interesting way to look at things, because, typically the way human beings are is when you're successful, you think that's because of some great quality that you have. And yet when other people around you are successful, often we look at them and go, oh, they were just lucky. It wasn't that they had some successful quality about them. And so that's the way we are. When things go wrong for us, we want to blame the world. The world did this to us, so we become victims. But when things go wrong for other people, we go, oh well, that person really deserved that. They were asking for it. So this is how we're so incongruent with all this stuff. We're blaming other people for our failures and claiming all the good stuff for any of our successes. But in fact, what we don't realize is that we're all in community. We're all connected. It's our failures are other people's failures. Our successes are other people's successes. And it's not like anyone's doing anything to us. All our feelings, all our experiences are coming from inside of us, not from outside of us. And that we need to really recognize that to grow emotionally, to take responsibility for your emotions in whatever is going on around
you. Nobody can break our hearts. A lot of emotions and feelings are tied up with our heartbreaks, those experiences that we had growing up that arrested us in some way emotionally. But what happens is somebody comes along that triggers off a feeling inside of us, and we put that out and think it's a heartbreak that they caused us. But nobody can climb inside of us and break our hearts. We set ourselves up to learn from life and the experiences that are given to us, so that we learn a lesson and regain a gift maybe that was buried much earlier on.
The greatest thing about emotional maturity and evolving ourselves emotionally is when an experience comes along that would have appeared previously to be negative, we meet the challenge of it, and we have the ability to accept it, to embrace it, and to learn from it immediately.
So that we don't have years of pain that we're sitting on, waiting for it to be dealt with. So, healing or learning about our emotions is actually learning to accept life just as it is and meet the challenge of it. It takes courage.
There are times for all of us when we do land up in great pain, with the fractures in our hearts and minds. There are times when we will be on the floor in our pain. And at those times when we really need to ask for help, we need to learn to get past this place of just trying to repress them and feel that pain. The other important thing to remember at these times is no matter how much pain we're in, no matter what's going on for us, typically there's always someone in more pain than you. So what our pain does typically, where we have these unresolved emotions, these undealt with painful places, they have us constrict, they have us pull back, they have us withdraw from life. But we can change that process by just always recognizing when we're in pain, we can still extend ourselves to other people. When we're in pain, we can still help other people. We can still give ourselves in some way. And any time that we really do that truly, that you give yourself through your pain, it will transform your pain and help the people that you're reaching out for.
For me personally, I've been lucky. I've had the privilege to attend trainings and workshops with the psychology of vision,
and really been able to clear out some of my emotional blocks easily and gracefully, because I've been supported by friends. And I can honestly tell you that my life now is so much different to how it used to be. To be honest, what were my emotional highs are now probably my emotional lows. So there's a lot of mileage in us having the courage to feel our feelings and grow. Thank you.